Heidi ho neighbors, RadoGoji here. Uh, Shaved and got new glasses. Yay. Um, yeah, New glasses. I actually was surprised to see them here when I got home. Apparently they came through the mail rather than being. I thought I would actually have to go to BJ's to pick them up, but apparently not. They mailed them to me. They fit quite nicely. I guess I would say they're a bit big, but it might have been like the other frames were a little bit different and they fit a bit more snugly. Hold on, I got something here. Nothing. Okay. Thought there was something on my phone that happened because it looked like it froze for a bit, but I guess I'm fine. So, yeah, not really much happened the past couple days. I did find out, oddly enough, for PS Plus users, PlayStation Plus users, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax for the PS3 is going to be free in February, and I do feel kind of silly. I mean, not for myself. I mean, usually when stuff like this happens, because I do have the game, but usually when stuff like this happens with me, I'll just download the game because I have PS Plus, so I'll just download the game and then like trade in the disc or something like that, put it towards something else. But I actually got the game for Greg for his birth, or not for his birthday, for Christmas, and found out yesterday that this is going to be free, and I'm like, well, I feel like because I bought the game new, but then again, it was like the limited edition, like the GameStop I went to still had some new like limited editions of them with like the Teddy Bot bag and the tarot cards. So he was at the very least able to get those, but I'm fairly sure I'll just hang on to the disc. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna trade my disc in and just download the game because that's what I normally do. I did that with Deadly Premonition. I did that with the original Gravity Rush on the Vita. I did that with um, Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. Um, I did that with a few 3DS games too. I know that they don't really have new or free 3DS games for download, but there were some where later on I was like, these are available for download now, and I'm never going to get rid of them anyway, so I may as well just download them, copy the transfer the save data over, and just trade the physical copy, and so that's what I did. Um, but yeah, not much else happened, so at least in the past couple days. So I may as well go ahead and try to find some kind of just a random topic to talk about. And one that's been on my mind recently is the 3DS Virtual Console. Now we all know that that Nintendo is basically very good at making money off of our nostalgia. I started really noticing this with the Wii Virtual Console when that came out, and they were coming out with all these older titles from older systems and whatnot. But they when the 3DS came out and I knew that they were going to start doing that on there. I'm like, well, that's going to be pretty cool because I like having all of my. I think I mentioned this in an LP before. I think I mentioned this during my Zelda 2 LP, if I remember correctly. But I'm actually a big fan of like having all of my games in one place if possible, and I play my 3DS more than anything. Although there are a lot of games that I've downloaded that I already own physical copies of, as far as Game Boy and Game Boy Color games go, I still like having them on the 3DS. I mean, yeah, the restore point functionality is a big up for that too, but um I think that they could have handled it a bit better overall. Because I say this no, mainly having heard at some point in the past. I think maybe like a month or two ago. Um, Not someone from Natsume, who is a game developer who made a lot of games for the Game Boy, if I remember correctly. They're the ones who are responsible for things like Harvest Moon and Legend of the River King. They said that they were interested in bringing out more games onto the 3DS Virtual Console, but Nintendo was actually pretty much done with them. So I think that Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and Green in Japan, are going to be like the last ones that they come out with for the 3DS, and I can kind of understand why. I know that there are a lot of people who still say, "Oh, they should, keep coming out with things for the 3DS Virtual Console." And when it comes to the Game Boy Color, and NES, as it were, they've pretty much got all the good stuff out already. Um, Now, as far as all of the good stuff, well, that's up to interpretation because there are a lot of like SquareSoft games. Well, a few Square Enix games, I should say, because there are, in that category now, that I would have really liked to see on the 3DS Virtual Console. I know I own it on the cartridge, but Final Fantasy Adventure is like one of my favorite Game Boy games, and that was never released on the 3DS. I know a lot of people really like Final Fantasy Legend. That was never released on the 3DS. There were some the Dragon Quest remakes for Dragon Warrior remakes, or Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior, same thing. The remakes of those for the Game Boy Color, the ones I'm playing Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 as an LP. Yeah, that cartridge. And they also had a nice port of Dragon Warrior 3 on there. I would have liked those on there, especially considering that I have 4, 5, 6, and 9 for the DS that I can play. And I will be getting 7 and 8 for the 3DS when they do come out over here, because they announced... I don't remember when they announced it. It was fairly recently they announced that they were actually going to be coming out with the 3DS versions of those over here, which was really exciting for me. I'm not as big of a Dragon Quest fan as a lot of other Dragon Quest fans are, but I do really enjoy the games. And there are, I really wanted to try 7 and 8. I did have on the PS2. When I first got a PS2, that was one of the first games I ever played. And then I never played it, and then I got rid of it, and I regretted it a long time afterwards. And now having it on the 3DS, it's a portable system. I'm more inclined to play the 3DS more than I am anything else, because everyone who knows me knows that I'm more of a portable gamer than a home console gamer. That doesn't necessarily mean I don't like the home consoles. Currently I have PS3, PS4, and Wii U. I like all of those. I had a 360 for like 7 years or something like that, and I did like that when I had it. The main reason I don't have a 360 anymore was because I had a 360 and a PS3. The main reason I had gotten the PS3, or I had asked for it for Christmas, and I got it for Christmas one year, because there are a lot of games on the PS3 that I really do like that are exclusive to it. But then I got to thinking, a lot of the games that I had on the 360 are also on the PS3. And there are very, very few, if any, games on the 360 that I actually, or that are exclusive to the 360 that I actually really liked. I think the only ones were like downloadable games like Banjo-Kazooie or like the remakes of Banjo-Kazooie and Perfect Dark. And, when it comes right down to it, a lot of the other exclusives I don't care for. I don't care about Halo. I don't care about Gears of War. I know Xbox One had Sunset Overdrive as an exclusive. I didn't care about that. And yet I had a PS3 for the games like that I like to play on the PS3, like Ratchet and Clank. And I do enjoy Little Big Planet every once in a while. I play God of War every now and again. I'm not as huge a fan of that as I am of anything else. But, Ratchet and Clank in particular is pretty fun. And there are a lot of, Japanese games that are only available on the PS3. They're mostly on the, PlayStations over there. And, the PlayStations are all region free. So, I can play games like Gundam Breaker, Super Robot Wars, that kind of stuff. So I made the decision to, trade in my Xbox 360 and just get pretty much, I wouldn't say all the games that I had, just, the ones that I really planned on playing on the PS3. It wasn't that I didn't like the Xbox 360, I was just consolidating onto a console that, had all the games that I wanted. So, the 360 is a good system. I'm not going to knock any of the Xboxes because, I haven't really played the Xbox One. I know some of my friends have it, but I'm not really, inclined to spend all that money again. When I bought a PS4, I'm not going to spend all that money again on another system just to play, 1 or 2 games that I don't care about. But I digress. Wow, was that a digression? But yeah, I do have home consoles and I do play them, but I do prefer the portable ones. I like to, play them while I'm watching TV, or I usually have one with me to play at my lunch break at work, or take to other friends' houses and whatnot. And I really like portable systems in general. Now the thing that Well, like I said, most of the stuff that we want to have out is already out on the 3DS Virtual Console. That's not a concern. I mean, other than like the Square Enix stuff, because they just decided to set this one out. But in fact, I don't think there were any Square Enix releases for Virtual Console. I mean, there were some for the Wii. There were quite a few for the Wii. They had the first. I say the first three Final Fantasies, but that's not really true. They had 1, 4, and 6. Because those were the ones that came out as 1, 2, and 3 over here. They had Secret of Mana, which I do still have on my Wii. Or my Wii U in Wii mode. I still have it on there. Super Mario RPG, which they just recently released on the Wii U. I think that's like the only Squaresoft game I can think of that they released on there. And at least Dragon Warrior 1. I think 2, 3, and 4 may have been on there as well. But I know at least Dragon Warrior 1 was on the Wii. But for 3DS and Wii U, with the exception of Mario RPG, it seems they just kind of sat it out, and that's a shame. But I think they could have handled it a lot better when they were going through it. Like, there were weeks where we didn't have anything. Like, if I wanted I wanted a new Game Boy game on my 3DS, and they didn't come out with anything. But they would come out with all kinds of crap, like City Connection for the NES. I remember when that was the Virtual Console release for that week, and that kind of made me a little teed off. But I got a lot of my favorite games on there. I got all the NES games that I really, truly care about. So, and then some. I did get a few others. But, the Game Boy Advance is probably where that hit me the hardest, because I do have an ambassador system. Like, I had an ambassador system. I transferred the data up through my new 3DS. I have a new 3DS XL, which does have the ambassador games on there. So I do have, those games available to me. But they never made those available for the general public. Nor did they come out with any other Game Boy Advance games for the Virtual Console. And instead, they decided to go ahead and release them on the Wii U for some reason. Now, I can kind of see the appeal of, holding the gamepad like a Game Boy Advance, playing it off of that. And I do have Game Boy Advance games downloaded on my Wii U. I do play them off of the gamepad. I don't have any problems with that. But not even having the option for having it on the 3DS was what bothered me. Because, like I said, I'd rather have them all in one place if possible. And I don't play my Wii U as much as anything else, really. I mean, yeah, I have games on there that I do play every once in a while, and I mean, I don't want to say the Wii U is lackluster. There are some really good games on there, but at the same time, I mean, Smash Brothers and Super Mario Maker have come and gone. Well, I say come and gone, but they're still very much a thing that people play, and that people were really excited about. And I have both of those, and I play them, and I dare say that Hyrule Warriors is still the best game on the Wii U, bar none. I have more time on that than any other game on the Wii U, period. Possibly because my brother and I played it quite a bit before he moved to Florida, but, I think that's still the best game on there. Really excited for the 3DS release for that, by the way, if you couldn't tell by my rambling. It's just so there's some games that come on out, every so often that are good on there, then I'll play them, but I don't care about Splatoon. I remember, during that E3 when they announced Splatoon and codename Steam, and they're like, oh, look, Nintendo's got these new intellectual properties, and I'm like, oh, this seems interesting. And then they immediately said, by the way, one of them is a turn-based strategy game with a steampunk theme, and the other one is a multiplayer-based shooter. And I'm like, I have lost interest immediately. And yeah. That's basically my thoughts on Splatoon and codename Steam. I never even bothered because they're not anything that I'm interested in. But what I don't get is, why Splatoon is considered to be like the second coming. Like, people actually still regard this as like the best game ever, and I really don't see the appeal. It's just, dare I say it, Call of Duty, except you shoot super soakers at the floor. I mean, yeah, you can turn into a squid. Yeah, there are the super creative weapons and whatnot, but it's Call of Duty where you shoot super soakers at the floor. That's all I've gotten out of it from what I've seen. Sorry. And I know a lot of people out there are Splatoon fans, and I don't want to say that they're wrong for liking their favorite game. It's not for me, and it. I don't think it ever will be. I'm not a big fan of multiplayer based shooters. Um, well, I should say third person Call of Duty where you shoot super soakers at the floor. It really doesn't matter. I mean, a lot of everyone's saying no, it's completely different, but I see it multiplayer based shooter. It's practically the same thing in practice. So I don't care for that. So I'm not gonna play it, and that's okay. Like I said, it's okay if you like it. I'm not gonna bash you for liking a game that I don't like. It's all opinion, but I don't care for it, so I'm not gonna do it. I mean, I thought the Smash Brothers was pretty underwhelming. But I digress a lot again. I do apologize for that. But what I'm getting at is I don't really have much of a reason to play my Wii U, so I really haven't gotten into playing a lot of the Game Boy Advance games I have on there. I mean, I have all 3 Castlevania games, which are absolutely freaking amazing. I have Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which is really good. But I'm just not really inclined to get onto the old Wii U and play them. Same thing with some of the SNES games I have on there, like. What do I have on? Well, Mega Man X 1 through 3, of course. You got to have those on there. I know I have a few other games on there. But I mean, I think the most of the SNES games are the ones that I'm excited to play. That I really have them on my backlog, and I'm really interested in. Oh, Earthbound. Well, yeah, Earthbound. I'm really interested in playing that once I get to it. But the only other SNES games I'm really excited to play are ones that I actually have physical copies of, like Secret of Evermore and. Secret of Evermore. What was the other one? Illusion of Gaia is another one I have, and I have physical copies of those. And I have a Superboy, which is, if you don't know what a Superboy is, it's basically a third-party handheld SNES console, and you can use it as a regular SNES as well and hook it up to the TV. But I played. Yeah, I have games for SNES that I play on there. I actually played through Final Fantasy Mystic Quest fairly recently. Within the past few months, I played that through, front to back, and that was one of the first RPGs that I really played like that, just straight through front to back in a long time. Like, I completed, changing hands here, so forgive for the camera. I completed Final Fantasy IV Complete Edition on the PSP version on the Vita fairly recently as well, like a little bit before I started playing Mystic Quest, but that was also off of a save file that I had last played like 2 years prior. So yeah, that was the first. I mean, as simplistic. Changing hands again. So my arm gets tired when I hold this up for too much longer. Adjusting my shirt as well, and I can't really edit these because they're just kind of recorded straight on my phone and then put up straight to YouTube, so I can't really edit them. So I'm sorry if I have that kind of stuff is unappealing to you. Sorry. I mean, but as simplistic of an RPG as it is, Mystic Quest, I played through that front to back. But I don't really have a lot of games I want to play on my Wii U, so I'm less inclined to play the Game Boy Advance games that are on there. And I understand that they wanted to really drive up sales for the Wii U, but at the same time, it's like, are you sure you'd rather do that than make games available for, let's face it, the system of yours that's actually selling right now? I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, and how odd is it that we can download certain Wii games on the Wii U, but we can't download any DS games on the 3DS? Now, at this point, I'm thinking that they might be shelving that. I mean, of course, coming out with Pokemon, but shelving that for now because of the whole NX thing that they're working on. But they're still coming out with Game Boy Advance games and shit for the Wii U like every week. But that's just, like I said, I think they could have handled it a lot better. I would have liked to have a lot more games on the 3DS, but if they're moving on to the NX, then there's not really much we can do about that, is there? But yeah, that's how I feel about that. Um, so hopefully I'll have a few more rants like that just to, have something to record and put on video. Next time, I actually do have something in mind that I do want to talk about next time, but you'll have to wait until tomorrow to see that. Hopefully tomorrow. I didn't post anything yesterday. This was supposed to be, recorded and posted yesterday, and that didn't happen. But whenever it gets out, but I'm shooting for tomorrow. Hopefully it happens. Oh, it'll happen. No, I'll make sure. I will make sure. I'll make damn sure that the next video goes out tomorrow. For, like the two of you that watch this, and I thank you for doing so. So until then, I've been RadoGoji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?